Hi, happy Tuesday afternoon. I never actually know whether I'm live or not live using the streaming software, but I'm going to assume that I am live. So I'm going to ramble for 5-10 minutes and talk a little bit about the Digital Construction Week event that's happening in London Excel next week, and share some of the thoughts, ideas, concepts that I know that the industry is trying to promote, and talk about some of the things that I've learned during the webinar series that we've been hosting within the Smart Connected Buildings community over the last 2 weeks. I'm also going to plug the event that we've got on Thursday, which I think is going to be quite an interesting event because it's going to probably answer the hardest question that I think there is within the industry. How do you actually demonstrate and prove positive return on investment, or ROI, on digital transformation initiatives or any technology deployments, software deployments as part of this digital construction agenda? So, where do I start? So, I suppose I'm going to start right at the beginning. Sort of in the late 90s, I sort of landed on my feet delivering smart building technology. So much of my time very early on in my career as a commercial, sales, marketing, business professional, I would be spending a lot of time on construction sites, promoting the value of technology, software, and new ways of doing things to the construction industry, typically in a porter cabin on a construction site. And I think it's fair to say that anyone that's operated within the real estate industry, I say selling technology and promoting the value of technology, has probably had the same struggles that I've had, whereby there's been a big disconnect on you'd sell the value of technology, but obviously when it comes to construction, that wonderful term value engineering basically meant that a lot of the value that technology was providing didn't really ever see the light of day. I've got many stories to talk about this, but the classic example I think was as most technologies migrated from a siloed infrastructure, let's say like telephony, the telephone, or security, the CCTV camera, it went from a siloed based infrastructure to an IP based infrastructure. And in the specifications that got written, there was a massive lag. I'd probably say 5 to 7 years. At one point, the specification would be talking about a CCTV camera, and obviously the traditional industry, the security consultants, the traditional networking consultants would be basically promoting an analog coaxial-based solution. And I'd be there arguing why a £20 more expensive IP-based camera was far more a much better investment than an analog camera, because once you hardwired an analog camera into the wall, you couldn't do anything else with it. You couldn't move it around, and it was blatantly obvious that an IP solution was better. But the amount of times where we lost projects because the bottom line of the package was just viewed by the M&E contractor to save money, hit their cost plan, and it met specification. So I've been promoting and evangelizing technology, software, consulting, different ways of working for over 25 years now. And I'm only too well aware of the challenges as to why the real estate industry, the construction industry has not truly digitally transformed. And this is actually 30 years after setting out on my journey. We're still having the same conversations that we were having a long time ago around why, how, what does technology do to drive change? So many of you will know, who are watching this video or this live, will know that I quit corporate life 7 years ago, set up Smart Connected Buildings as a digital transformation consultancy and advisory. And over the years, I've built a network and a community of 10,000 plus members. And all these people are coming to the community that we built to drive positive change. And it does feel post-COVID that we are now sat looking over the edge of the cliff, and I've been here before, so I'm not going to hold my breath, but it feels like the shift is about to take place. So over the last, I'd say 2 to 3 months, I've been very busy behind the scenes. Most people will know that I've always been quite vocal within LinkedIn. I've been busy behind the scenes, building something quite innovative, and I'm really excited to launch. And obviously we're really focused on the digital construction market. So I'm going to be at the Digital Construction Week event next week. I'll be there with various members and partners from the community. They are technology, software, consulting organizations that have technology that is driving transformative change within the construction industry. I'll be there, obviously, as Smart Connected Buildings and a digital transformation advisor. I'm going to be getting involved in hopefully some of the panel events. There's going to be a few things that I'm going to be hosting and moderating at the event, and you'll be able to come and find me at one of the stands. So if anyone is going to Digital Construction Week event that's watching this, by all means, please do reach out and let me know. It'd be great to go and have a cup of coffee. So where do I start about digital construction? So it's fair to say that I think there's a big disconnect. So a lot of the work and a lot of the conversations, I've reached out to a lot of construction business leaders over the last couple of months. And in preparation for Digital Construction Week, I've spoke to digital transformation leaders from tier 1 contractors, mid-tier contractors, and the smaller contractors. And it's been quite enlightening because I think the maturity of the industry is vast. So you've got the laggards that are now trying to play catch up, and then you've got the tier 1 contractors that went on their digital transformation journey back in 2011 on the advent of BIM, deployed lots of different software technologies to drive that change. And most of the tier 1 contractors now are trying to unpick the mess that they've created and rationalize a lot of the software layer that they've got, and basically try to have a single platform, which I don't actually think exists. So I think there's a big disconnect between, do you want best of breed technology that laser focuses on a specific outcome? So one area that I'm massively promoting at the moment is digital asset information and digital handover, digital O&Ms. One of the Smart Connected Buildings community is a company called eDocuments, and Dr. Jamie Dupre will be at the event, and they'll be talking about this subject on a panel with people like Nick Leach, Sir Robert McAlpine, and a few other esteemed digital construction pioneers, trailblazers. So that will be a great panel for most people to go to if they're at the event. For me, one of the things that I've seen as part of the Smart Connected Buildings community is you've got the REBA, the Smart Building Overlay that's been created by the REBA Plan of Work. Finally, the industry's realised that technology, software, and the digital specification of the building, everyone knows my view is, a building built today is nothing more than a large computer. A large computer runs on an operating system, and the smart building operating system is the bit that's going to drive the value. The value is created in the cloud, not the hardware, not the sensors, not the CCTV cameras, not the 5G mobile infrastructure, not the data cable. It's the data. The data that's pulled out from those systems, ingested and integrated with the whole complex tech stack, or let's say the data lake that most people talk about. The value is created where you're taking that data to drive insights. The problem we've got still today is the industry is still disconnected, where you've got a client that wants to build a building. They have great aspirations. They want to achieve Wired Score Platinum certification. They want to achieve Smart Score certification or Smart Building certification, whatever the certifications they need. And what happens is a lot of that gets diluted through the supply chain. And that's just because of the way that the construction industry operates and how they drive value into the construction project. So there is a big disconnect between the the tendering process, the design, the specification, the actual construction program all the way to PC, but most of the value is created post PC in the 25, 30, in some cases 50-year life cycle, the operational life cycle of the building. And at the moment they're completely disparate. And the challenge I see is even just pulling data out. I mean, like, when you look at construction sites today, at one end, you're trying to create this smart building, for want of a better term. I don't like the term smart buildings, it's what the industry talks about, but a smart building. But then you've got a construction site that is still analog and paper-based. So one of the big drivers that I'm pushing, I'll be promoting quite heavily, is basically the digital site project office of the future. And what I mean by that is, you're building a smart building with loads of technology, loads of software, IoT sensors, a smart building platform, aggregating data, showing real-time energy efficiency, optimization, real-time ESG reporting, yada, yada, yada. And then you've got the construction site that is still a paper-based analog environment delivering a highly complex solution. And there's some really quick wins that I think that can be delivered. And this is what I'm going to be talking about and on a stand with a company called Ascente during the event. And we're going to be promoting a digital construction site of the future. And this is where we're not using post-it notes to look at the 2 to 6 week look ahead of the project, which in my opinion is where the real magic happens. As a developer and investor myself, it's all well and good having great plans and cost plans and having a goal and having a vision around what you want the building to look like. I've done a lot of commercial conversions, stripping it back to brick. And then all of a sudden, when you strip a building back to brick, the building unveils itself, and you realise where the problems are. Where you make money in a construction project is actually during the 2 to 6 week look ahead, and that's where the supply chain, the project team come together and go bare knuckle fighting to go and deliver value. And what I get confused on is still, many of those projects in the 2 to 6 week look ahead is done by post-it notes. Analog, paper-based post-it notes stuck up on the wall, right? And for me, a very quick win is just digitizing that whole process. Because when you put a post-it note up on a wall, someone is committing to delivering something to hit that milestone, that deliverable within the project. And the post-it note, the data that's held in that post-it note is critical data for not only the project team, but for the supply chain, and also for the actual the main contractor and the construction company at large. So there's little things that can be won just by digitizing certain processes and technologies that exist within a construction site. So we're going to be doing a massive push around the digital construction site of the future, using things like touchscreens, collaborative planning technologies, audio and video technologies in that construction site to link into things like Microsoft Teams. This is a fully Microsoft certified solution. So Microsoft recommend this technology. It's going into banks, insurance companies, legal companies. It's actually the same people that invented the smartboard back in the early 90s. Proven technology. The biggest benefit, though, as I see it for the construction company, is because it's integrated with Microsoft Teams, you've got Microsoft Places, Microsoft Copilot. When you've got construction meetings on a site, obviously the audio output is really important because people are making commitments. And the audio output can get ingested by whatever AI platform the construction company is using. But it's when you combine all of this information to drive change and actually give insights is where the real value's at. So going back to the webinar that we're going to be doing on Thursday is going to be talking about this very topic, about how do you measure return on investment? Because yes, there is a cost to deploying technology. But actually, when you look at the cost compared to the technology that gets deployed in most construction sites, it isn't that much more expensive. It's just better planned, thought out technology that really drives value because you are extracting the data and actually driving value for the project. So there's going to be a lot that we're talking about. So I'll probably pop a few links below. We've done a whole series of digital construction webinars over the last few weeks, talking about these various topics. Digital collaborative planning on site within the site production office. We've been talking about data and analytics to try and work out how do you manage, monitor, optimize supply chain. And obviously the supply chain for most construction sites is massively complex. In some cases you've got 30, even 50 different subcontractors working on site at any one time. And how you coordinate all of those contractors to deliver the milestones within the 2 to 6 week look ahead. It's like, that's the data insights that's never been available before. And I know that there are some main contractors, and these aren't big contractors, right? There are main contractors that I think are going to leapfrog many other construction companies because they followed a digital first, software led, data led strategy a few years back. They're now able to understand exactly who's performing, who's not performing, which suppliers go above and beyond and are always on time, on budget. They've got the right materials, they've got the right amount of labour. They are hitting their commitments week in, week out. And on the other side, who are those contractors, subbies, that are just never hitting the timelines? They never have the right materials on site. They never have the right labour on site. And it's those insights that are allowing forward-thinking construction companies to drive this innovation. So I've spent my time over the last sort of 3 months talking to lots of people within the marketplace, lean project managers, BIM business leaders, digital transformation business leaders within the industry. And I've got a really good handle as to where I see the maturity of the industry. Very much like I did with the Smart Connected Buildings community, I spent the last 7 years talking to, I don't know, it must be 3,000 plus people from across the planet, all coming together to drive change around the built world. I've done a similar exercise, albeit a lot shorter, in the last 3 months, looking at digital construction and where the digital construction industry is. So rather than rambling on, I'm just keen to reach out to the industry. I do want to chat to digital leaders. I'm really keen to get insights, but most importantly, share some of the lessons learnt that people have had within the industry. Because ultimately, if you distill the number one mission that I'm on, is to solve the fact that 41% of global carbon comes from the built world, which is a travesty, right? I mean, like, it's not that difficult to solve the problem. For whatever reason, the industry, well, we know most of the reason, the industry's really struggled to drive change and use technology and software to do things different. And that's mainly cultural resistance. In fact, last week's webinar was on what's been the barriers to digital adoption across the real estate and construction industry. So rather than me talk about it now, I'll pop a link below. You can go and learn all about that. So that's it. That's a bit of an update. So anyone going to the Digital Construction Week event, please do pop by. I'll pop a link below. If you want to book a quick cup of coffee, I'm there for the whole 2 days. I want to meet as many people during those 2 days as possible and build relationships, forge relationships, but ultimately drive change within the industry. This change is so needed. Software, technology, data analytics, the insights that have been locked away within construction projects are now available. And it's those insights that are going to drive positive change for the industry. And tick every single box that's sat on the C-suite agenda of any construction company. ESG Nirvana. Delivering projects quicker, faster, cheaper, on time, on budget. Still today, most construction projects go way beyond practical completion. And if you look at the costs of like prelims and God forbid LADs, people are like, construction companies just lose so much money because the project drags on. By using software technology and actually early warning systems as part of the project delivery, a lot of these challenges can be, or issues can be identified very early on within the construction project. Anyway, we're coming up to 20 minutes. This has been a bit of an ad lib. I've not really planned it, so I have been jumping around, so apologies. But look, I'm interested. Any comments around this whole digital construction agenda, pop them below. I'd love to sort of get the industry to join the debate. And I look forward to catching up with anyone in the near future. If anyone's free Thursday morning at 8:30 in the morning for half an hour, I'm going to be chatting to a couple of digital transformation and digital construction experts, talking about probably the hardest question in the industry. How do you measure the return on investment from digitization, transformation strategies within the construction industry? Thanks ever so much for your time. I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.